welcome back to my version of the gaming kill count. Horror games are already being covered by the official kill count now, hosted by Zoran of the Kill Count channel, also hosted by James A. Janice. I am Rixxalight, the face or the voice of this channel, pretty both. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, well, we know that the kill count is covering horror games, and, well, I'm going to try and not cover horror games as such, just in case they do cover it and they can do a 10 times better job than me. So they're not covering the games that I'm doing. That's why I'm doing my best. I can do better. I know I can, but I don't have the same editing team. I don't have the same amount of work that goes behind all these, because that's what he solely does. I don't. I just play games for the fun of it, and I think this is just a nice little thing I like to do on the side. That's why I'm doing this. That being said, another year has passed us by, and I think this marks my 9th anniversary, or my 9th year, doing YouTube straight. I don't do it for money. I do it for just to just spend my time doing things, you know? Like, there's games I want to finish, there's games I want to play. That's why we're doing it. Anyway, today we are covering Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. I might add we are covering SORA's section of Dream Drop Distance during the new year on January 1st, 2026. Then, that is when I'll be covering Rikus' side of the story. Now, this game will get very confusing if you don't play it right. And, even if you do, it's hard to track the kills in the game considering you're bouncing back and forth between Riku and Sora. Sometimes you're forced to play as Riku, and that's why this is going to sound very confusing when going through this, because we're going through Sora's campaign. I'm going to try and avoid all the spoilers as I can, but at the same time, sometimes they will be pitting that set. So, for this video, we are doing Sora's story, like I've already said, and then moving on to Riku's at the end of the year, which I already said. The ending will be covered in the latter video that's coming out at the end of the year. It's going to be hard to track because each time you play as a character, you have a time limit with each, and I've always beaten the game with Riku first. So this just means it'll be more annoying for me to count things, and it's going to be far more annoying with everything else that's going to happen too. For this game, we won't be counting Heartless or Nobodies, as this game introduces a new enemy called Dream Eaters, and that's what we'll be counting along with humans, if any do die in the series. With that being said, let's dive into the game. The game begins with a story from the past explaining some of the backstory with how the organisation started, how the fused body of Terra and Xehanort went by the name of Ansem, and quickly takes the heart of Break, marking one character already onto the count.
I am. Hey, do you remember now, or... Wait, did you never lose your memory?
That's not my name. I'm not Xehanort.
What?
This makes him become Xigbar later down the line. Throughout the game we get a little glimpse called mementos. These are either flashbacks or little extra tidbits the game wants to show us. Seeing as they are canon, we gotta count them too. The first one of these moments pits us against a Phantom Ursula, but as the name puts forth, it was just Phantom because this entire game is based on the Mark of Mastery exam. This exam is all about taking a dive through some kind of portal to enter a sleeping world. In these portals, there is nightmares waiting for us, as I'm only counting those that need to be defeated, as we've always done. Some of them Dream Eaters, in this case, may be called in dropping sequences. Sorry, I don't reread this afterwards, so I don't know what I'm saying when I read it. In these dropping sequences, basically you're diving to the world, like down a giant pit. Sometimes you've got to fight Dream Eaters, sometimes you don't, and this is one of the cases, or sometimes this is what you want to do. Will only be counted if I need to defeat them. In the first drop, I didn't need to do this, so that's all smooth sailing, but from here, we land in the sleeping world of Traverse Town. So far, in the beginning of the game, as I would have preferred to play as Riku first because his story is easier, and he's just got better combat than Sora does, but the game is forcing us to play as Sora, so that's why we're doing Sora's campaign first. As playing as him, after landing in Traverse Town, we meet up with another character from a game called The World Ends With You. I've never played this series, so I have no idea what it's about. at all. Sometimes I know some things about Final Fantasy, but not a lot. Either way, after the opening scene, we are forced to play as Sora from this moment on, so we will be skipping all the Rikus moments, like I said in the video, explaining blah 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 blah. Explaining the Sora side of the story from this moment on, so it's not going to get confusing, and I'll explain something in between if something is missing from the thing. But I do believe I cover everything that is important from here. That being said, after meeting up with this new friend, we chase after him, and when we do, we run into these new enemies that I've already called Dream Eaters. We also see a friendly variant of these two. And of course, this game is focusing on the Dream Eaters in these sleeping mods, because it's going to become very apparent in the future, forcing us to fight. And with this first fight down the way, we're already adding 6 Dreamers, also known as Nightmares, to the count. Chasing after a new friend some more, we run into a slight issue with the new friend, which does cause big issues. Those issues make Sora black out. Now this is where it's going to get a little confusing for this count. Because of this issue, we are forced to play as Riku, but we are not covering Riku's side today, as I've said several times over. Just look out for the future video all around New Year's for that one. When Sora wakes up, Neku, the guy from The World Ends With You, and the Black Coat, there's a guy in black coat, I should probably mention that, under black coat, and a guy in the black coat, Organization 13 black coat, have vanished. So now we're off to go and find them. Did I not mention about the black coat? When hunting Neku down, we run into a new friend called Rhyme, and she has lost her memory, so she's pretty useless to us. Anyway, with her, we find Neku again when somehow Rhyme vanishes and the black coat guy returns, bringing with him a giant monkey. That will be added to the count after a nice defeat. Like I said, this is going to get extremely confusing because in Riku's story it all explains who this Joshua guy is, and he explains for his ear that the worlds are split in 2. So any dreamers we kill will be added once for Sora and a second time for Riku. This is the only time we'll be counting both, unlike we have done before. A little note, when I was reading this, I had the visual of the game cutscenes playing out beforehand. Maybe I'll do that in the future, but that would require me to drop it down to doing them one a year, and that is not something I want to do. Maybe for the next series, you know, maybe do something special for the anniversary, or do this from whatever. We'll see how it goes. But yes, Joshua is more important in Riku's story and not in this one. There is a video I'm going to be about that later of the year. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that this video. It might be a lot. Anyway, let's move on to the next world. That next world being Notre Dame. If you don't know what the Notre Dame is, well, I don't know the real name of the world. I'll just call it Notre Dame because I can't say the proper word, or I don't remember what it's called. Anyway, we're covering the story of Hunchback of Notre Dame. The next world is upon us, and another drop has arrived. Unlike the first where we just had to go from point A to point B, this time we are tasked to kill 15 enemies before we could land. And as always, these will be added, and the 15 that we did kill are getting added to the count. Anyway, let's get into the real world, and a world that is not we haven't seen in the series before, that being Hunchback of Notre Dame. As we will meet up with our good old Hunchback himself, Quasimodo. When landing, we run into Frollo, the bad guy of the movie, as far as I'm aware. I've never seen Hunchback of Notre Dame, and we all know that we don't like this guy. But anyway, monsters have been sighted, and we are the ones to deal with them. On the way to the square, where the dreamers lay, I assume, the captain runs in and takes out one of the monsters for me. Or for us, because we have got a little dog-cat companion thing. That's another one getting added to the count. Well, good thing I'm keeping this piece of paper. Now the real fight begins, where Sora and his two fairy friends end up taking out, to the best as I could count, 16 Dreamers, or Dream Eaters / Nightmares. On the screen is going to be more accurate than what I can read, so there, we'll see if I can make that right. As the story continues, we meet up with some of Quasi's friends. I think one of those is called Esmeralda. And well, you know how the song and dance goes around here. I avoid things that are unimportant to the main story of the game, but anyway, we find out that Esmeralda went missing and we need to go track her down. When doing so, we run into more nightmares. For this unavoidable fight we take out 3 big plant nightmares to open the way. There's plenty of little ones around, but those can be avoided, meaning we're only taking out the main 3. The path that opens up after killing them leads us to a series of graveyards, which also led us to the Gypsy hideout. Frollo was following us, and a little dark for a KH game, but he wants to actually burn the witch, or so-called witch, and thanks to Quasimodo, or Quasar? Is Quasar someone else? Thanks to Quasar, the Gypsy is... oh, Quasi, yeah. Thanks to Quasimodo, the Gypsy is saved, but that's not all. After she was saved, a giant nightmare comes to take my head, but instead, we take his. Once the beast is dead, we see Notre Dame on fire, with a face-down fight happening between Quasimodo and Frollo. With this dark turn, Frollo tries to behead Esmeralda, but thankfully, fate takes the wheel, making him fall off the veranda on top of Notre Dame and plunging to the fiery death below. That also happens in the movie, I think. I've not watched it, I'm just assuming. With the day all being saved, the man in the black coat once again makes his appearance once more. Says a few words. Again, if you want to know the full story, go play the game for yourself, then you know what he says. But for this world, that's all that was done. When coming to the next world, during the dive again, which is at this point we'll find there's only like 3 different types of dives. Gather points. Oh, there's 4. Gather points, do things in a certain time limit, kill enemies, or kill a boss. In this dive, we are doing the latter and actually going face to face with a diving boss. And of course, we know it gets added to the count. So, after landing in the world of the Grid, which has been in the series before back in KH2, but this time it is not based on the original weird CGI / movie hybrid of Tron. This one is based off Tron Legacy, and this makes a nice sequel to the game. Or to the first part of Tron in this game anyway. While exploring the updated world, a few guards find us, and they are not very friendly with us, so it's time to run instead of fighting. After we get away, we run into an old friend. However, there seems to be something wrong with Tron. Because he's not named Tron in this. I think it's called Riz. I can't remember. Rinsler. Yes. Was called Tron, now going by the name Rinsler. Not Riz, that's a new thing. But by this time, Tron/Rinser has forgotten all about Sora and the adventures they had during Kingdom Hearts 2. But we have some new friends to meet, who are willing to help us fix Tron and turn him back into what he was before. After navigating the world and finding one of the enemy hideouts, we try and find Tron's code to fix him, but like always, things don't go according to plan, eventually landing us to go face to face with this new Tron. Before we fight Rinsler, some lore was dropped to us. This version of the Grid is the actual real world, and the world we visited before was the copy that Ansem created. Ansem the Wise created, by the way, which is not the same Ansem as the boss. Ansem Wise was voiced by Christopher Lee, rest in peace, and he was a good guy, but then he ended up making an entire system to help him run that. That would explain why this world is in a sleeping state. During the lore dump, Xemnas comes by to try and confuse Sora with memories. Of course, something that Xemnas and Sora is combined to. Now, Xemnas did die in Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't know if I'll explain this later, but I most likely will, because it's very, very key and crucial to why Xemnas is in this game, even though he should be dead. The next world we visit is named Prankster's Paradise. Also, which has been in the series before in a different twist. as the characters we do see in this one are mainly Jiminy Cricket, which is not with us on this journey because he's still with the castle with Mickey, while Sora and Riku are on their adventures too. Because this is Sora's Mark of Mastery exam. Of course, that's the word. But anyway, another familiar face waits us in the next world, first shown in Kingdom Hearts 1 inside the belly of the whale Monstro. But what we see here is what happened before the world was lost to darkness and fell asleep. After the dive, and where we land, we are greeted to a nice little theme park / fairground, and by a very familiar face that's followed Sora since he first started his journey. Good old Jiminy Cricket. In a flashback, it's revealed that the worlds we visit are dreaming, so people we see are what the world remembers before it fell. This will help explain what we see in later World 2. Anyway, in this world, we see Pinocchio running around, and after following him, he turns into a Dream Eater. It was all a ruse! Making more spawn in. Exactly 10 nightmares spawn in. These can't be avoided, and as you know, avoided fights get added to the count. It took some time, but we do finally run into the real Pinocchio, with him now having donkey ears, because he just loves to lie. Anyway, when we do catch up to the real Pinocchio and rescue him, we are greeted with many more Dream Eaters. In this next encounter, we are taking out 12 of them. Now, in the screenshots, I may have showed 11 in the next following scene, but in total, there was 12. When I was trying to get a screenshot, one of the bears ended up being killed by one of my Dream Eating friends, so I couldn't really show that one. So I assure you, there was 12 in that fight. Once the battle is over, we go hunting for Pinocchio and his little cricket friend, only to find out that they went searching for the huge whale that we explore in Kingdom Hearts 2, being Monstro. I don't know why I didn't call it Monstro. We, being a good boy, we run off after them and meeting up with them just in time for Monstro to eat them. But lo and behold, a big dream monster is waiting for us. To wrap up this work, all we do is kill the big beast. And the rest we know because we catch up, back up to them in Kingdom Hearts 1, where Riku is being a little bit of a bitch. The old Riku, not the current Riku. After being forced to play as Riku, because how the game works, it goes in like different sections. Traverse Town was one section, and then the last world we've just seen are another section, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. There were 3 levels, right? Prankster's Paradise, Notre Dame, and the grid, of course. So yeah, Traverse Town, then there's 3 planets, then there's 2 planets, then there's the final one, I believe. Every time this happens, every time you do like a little section, you cannot progress until you've done the Riku side of the story. Just to make that clear. Which, now, because I'm reading this as we go, after having played as Riku, we are heading back to Traverse Town. When landing, we're running back into Joshua again, the being who can live in 2 separate timelines, that I did not cover previously, because I am explaining, because I've just played as Riku when writing this. The talk we have with him explains a little more about the 2 being separated, but the more important thing is that our new friends are being pinned down. So, let's go to rescue them, I guess I should say, which in turn adds 12 more nightmares to our list. That was somehow summoned by a giant wizard bird, which didn't take long for us to hunt him down, but that's as well as that went, as the Jack-in-the-Box monkey from our first visit gets summoned for round 2. This is a different one, because we do kill the other one and it does disappear. With the monkey down, the wizard bird summons the boss from the Notre Dame level, adding another fight to the battle. And of course, it won't be complete without bringing back the monster, which was the giant crab that we fought in the Pinocchio world. I may have not added this fight, or the picture of this fight, or the one previously, because I'm stupid. But, of course. I was expecting to go face to face with the bird after fighting this, but it manages to escape from us by flying through a keyhole that we managed to get to, like, put a lock on the sleeping world. Which is a new thing! But all's well. We'll run into him later, but for now, let's say goodbye to our second visit of Traverse Town. After some back and forth with Riku, we get to the next set of worlds. Personally, I don't like the worlds, seeing as they both contain Mickey, but we already know how the story works, and that's the world of dreaming, so let's get into it as we enter the level called Country of the Musketeers. When we land in the world, we see our good dear friends Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. This must be in their training days, because they struggle to take out one Dream Eater. Good thing Sora lent a hand in time to deal with this one nightmare. With a little talk with the king, and Sora being dumb, more Dream Eaters spawn in on us, which of course we do end up taking out and adding 13 of them to our little count in the top right corner. Bing. The trio make a nice alliance with Sora once again, and our hero joins them in protecting Queen Minnie, or for this chapter, Princess Minnie, while on the carriage with the Disney trio in tow. A dinosaur Dream Eater comes in for the attack. After the attack, Princess Minnie gets captured by 3 other musketeers. These ones are dressed in black. Chasing them down leads us to a tall-ass tower where we come face to face with the black muskets. Goofy, using his minuscule brain, or as my favourite word is for tiny brain power, is Leloution. Kind of like how smooth brains work, that's the proper terminology. He somehow does a strange manoeuvre, jumping out one window, springing back into the room, and sends the 3 bad guys out of another window. There is water below, so we can't say for sure that these 3 died. Sorry folks, bodies count, but drowning doesn't. Returning back to the castle grounds, we catch wind that the captain, also known as Pete from the other times, forged the good musketeers just to keep them out of the way so he can meddle and be a bitch. And we all know Pete, he likes to summon things, and thus he brings more Dream Eaters, which actually overthrow Sora, so we don't get to count anything here either. This world sucks! Our adventure leads us to some sewers, which, they seem very tame until we reach a large clearing, where within lies 7 elephant-styled nightmares. We find Mickey on the brink of death, where he nearly drowns. A little dark for Disney, but anyway, it helps us catch up to Pete, where we go toe-to-toe with him once again, a gimmick that won't be ending anytime soon. Well, after the fight with Pete, we get knighted, and with it comes the end of the level. Like I said in the last little section when we covered up Land of the Musketeers, again we are covering with Mickey again, but this time we're covering the movie of Fantasia, or in this game, let's call it Symphony of Sorcery. During the dive into the world, we are tasked to rack up 900 points, within at least a minute. There is enemies here, but after a few test runs, it is possible to get through this without actually killing anything. And, well, unlike the official kill count, I'm only in the official kill count when they did Resident Evil, they covered everything you can kill, and then nothing at all, like only the base things. I'm only counting the absolute minimum, and not everything, so nothing will be added here for my count. So with that being said, we can land in the world and get to the real counting, if there is any. When we land, we witness King Mickey again before he was king, and during this time, which takes place during the Fantasia movie, as I stated, he is learning how to do powerful magic that Sora never bothered to learn. During his spellcasting, the Duckbird nightmare from our last visit to Traverse Town has shown itself once more, knocking Sora onto his sorry ass. We wake in a dream version of Yensid's tower, where music has been corrupted by the darkness. And well, we got to find out a way to stop this. Yes, it can get very confusing because apparently the Dream Eaters can form inside music sheets, but again, this is a dreaming world, so that does make a little bit more sense in a weird way. Anyway, let's go stop this crazy thing from happening and save the king. Inside the first music note, we traverse over clouds and channel the music within to calm the storms until we get to the end and get the elusive sound idea to help Mickey get out of his troubles. Inside the second note, we are greeted with a magical pelican again. When we catch up with him once more, we finally managed to go toe-to-toe with him again. But halfway through the fight, it summons weird brush people. These are not Dream Eaters, and if you've seen Fantasia, then you'd know it's just magic. So assume the same thing is happening here, as in they're just being mimicked alive and just using to fight me, so I'm not going to add them. This time around, the beast was defeated, and I will add it for now. But just in case, I won't be adding it again if I see it on this kill count again, because then that way I've counted it twice, but I do believe it's dead this time, so I don't remember fighting it again. So this way, if we see it in Riku's side and he fights a second one too, then I will probably explain that at some point as well, because like I said, this can get very confusing, because sometimes you can fight the same thing, sometimes you, like I said, we fight the fought the monkey, died, because I see like the magical pelican can summon monsters, so that's why we fought the monkey twice, and so on and so forth. And Riku fought the monkey too, but it's again like it's split into two different timelines. But by the looks of it, the pelican can jump between two versions of the world, because it's very powerful. And now that the giant pelican is dead, forcing us to go back to playing as Riku again, we can get on to the final world, and thus that level being the world that never was. This video will end after we finish Sora's side of the story. But the next video of the kill count, as I said many times throughout this video, will be around New Year's Day, and we'll cover Riku's story and the real ending. As for now though, let's get diving into this final world. In the dive, we come across the Kingdom Hearts equivalent of Vesperquid, and some tiny little bees. We had to take out the tiny bees to take a shot at the Queen Bee. In total, this resulted in taking out 5 small Dream Eaters. I think those also counts the Queen Bee as well. I guess I'm just stupid. And here comes the major plot twist. I'm going to withhold a lot of information so you can go play the game for yourselves. I know this time around has been mostly screenshots, but I'm not doing this for money, and so all my effort isn't actually going into this. Plus, I have 14 other videos to record each week, so this is not a top priority of mine. Anyway, when we land in this world, we meet up with one of the dead Organization 13 members, only to tell us that we were steered in the wrong direction from the very beginning of this game. And the one that threw us through all these loops, well, he was present in the first Kingdom Hearts game, giving us just the one line: this world has been connected. It's been a long plan, but a plan nonetheless, and that's why we have ended up back here in this world. As the cutscene plays out, Sora takes a small trip down memory lane, seeing himself lose Kairi and his homeworld to only wake up in Traverse Town. The scene stops short as we hear someone say Sora as we black out. When we come back, we see the king and our 2 loyal friends running off into the world. As we try to catch up to them, we see Naminé, who somehow changes into Xion. No idea what's going on here, so let's just get back to counting. After chasing ghosts and taking out Dream Eaters that we don't need to count because they're not important, we see Sora having some very strange delusions. At first he's chasing down Xion, who takes down a hood only to show us that it was Roxas. After more chasing, we see Kairi and Riku walking around, but when we try to catch up to them, they change into Aqua and Terra. So let me explain what's going on here. When Ventus, way back when, during the times of Birth by Sleep, he was lost to the shadows and his heart was cast out. In turn, the heart found itself back into Sora. Now in Kingdom Hearts 1, we saw Sora turn into a Heartless, and when this happened, Sora ended up creating a nobody who ended up becoming Roxas due to Ventus' heart being trapped within him. And now we are seeing those who were dear to Roxas, which are Xion and Naminé, and later we see Aqua and Terra because of Ventus. Sora carries the love from his own heart and those of his nobody and the lost heart within him. That's as best as I can explain it. So to maybe give a quick recap of what I just explained, Ventus is sleeping, and this is what the exam is all about. He's trying to wake up Ventus because he's not actually dead, he's just lost to the shadows and he's sleeping in a deep sleep. He is locked somewhere. We'll explain that in Kingdom Hearts 3, because that's when he turns up again. So his heart is nice and tucked away in Sora, so that's why he's seeing... you know what, I think I explained it well. What's great is actually playing all these games again, because a lot of information gets cleared up by playing the whole series again back to back. Why some have yellow eyes and why some don't. More on that in Kingdom Hearts 3. I won't explain it here, just play games for yourselves. But like I said, it will be keyed in the Kingdom Hearts 3 kill count next year, maybe question mark. After running into Xigbar and Xemnas, again, we work the courage and don't fall for their little plan, and go once again toe-to-toe with Xemnas. But wait, what are these two doing alive, if I already killed them in Kingdom Hearts 2? Well, we have three different things going on here, and, well, if the timeline events do line up, then, well, only one of them rings true. Theory number 1. When you kill the Heartless, and it's nobody, the real form of the two come back alive, and if that did happen, then, well, maybe the real Xehanort cast himself and Xigbar back into the shadows. Basically meaning, I killed Xemnas, I killed Ansem, it made Xehanort's real form come out alive, and then, the same with Xigbar, we killed Xigbar, his nobody was found too, found Xigbar again, made him into another Heartless. Second theory. We are dreaming, and the people we are fighting have cast a shadow inside Sora so they can take him down from within. However, we do know that in this game they hijack Sora's trial and cast him down their own path, so I don't think that one is true. My theory 3. Back in 358/2 days, we find out that Vexen was working on something called a replica, and we actually fight one of those in Chain of Memories. Remember the Dark Riku? He was one of them, so I think the actual story is that these new organisation people are indeed the replicas Vexen worked on so that they have a backup plan to achieve their one true goal. That will be explained in either KH3, in the KH3 kill count, or one coming out at New Year's. Depends how the story goes. I think I'm going to have a version 4, because sometimes there's because how the replicas work, I will explain it in Kingdom Hearts 3. So, the replica has to have memories of some things pushed into it, and that's the help from Naminé, and Vexen learn how to do this. I think it's a mix, because it would explain why Xehanort's there and why not, because I feel like the replicas have yellow eyes for a reason, or they're being cast to darkness, but I feel like Xemnas could be either himself that's being cast out again, but it wouldn't make sense why Xehanort would be there in 3, which he is in 3, while Ansem's there, and so is Xemnas. So I do think replicas are used to make this plan forthcoming. Anyway, we fight Xemnas in our dreams, or the real one, even if this is a replica or just a dream. He's getting added to the count once more because we've beaten him up. Again, he will return in Kingdom Hearts 3, but again, this time it could be replicas, it could be the real one, so that's twice he's being killed off the count. Not as strong as the number 2 was, because this seems like he's a weaker version, and he does die, so we added him to the count. The Surveyor Black Coat returns once again. By the way, I didn't mention he was Silverhead because I showed Silverhead, but yes, the Black Coat from before shows himself once again, explaining that we was not supposed to dive this deep, and that we was hijacked, and that it was all part of the plan to weaken Sora as much as possible. So it's easy to, shall we say, recruit him to the Organization 13. Just as Sora was about to fall to the darkness and possibly be added to the count once more, that little light within him came to the rescue, encasing him in armour to protect him. That armour would be Ventus coming to the rescue from beyond the grave, because back in Birth by Sleep you could travel to protect yourself from darkness by using these armours, and because the heart within inside Sora is still there, he could still manifest that for Sora to keep him alive. That being said, that marks the end of the Sora story of the kill count. Sora is trapped in the dark and he can't escape without the help of Riku. I may have missed 1 or 2 screenshots as I suggested, things dying, and that's my bad, but I did my best, so in a full tally of things that have happened without a pie chart, because that was awkward to do and I don't want to work with that software, and it doesn't want to write what I want to do, so it fucks it up and doesn't make sense, so I can't really animate it either, because I would love to do that. Maybe I could get someone to do that, I don't know, maybe. In Sora's campaign, in the end we saw the death of 3 humanoids, and we managed to take out a minimum of 108 Dream Eaters, which is quite low for a game. However, there is more to this game, an entire Riku side story that does need to be dealt with, which will be seen at New Year's for the final time. So quick recap, 108 people died, 3 people quote unquote did die, however one of those could be a replica and they still have a heart / don't heart, but they still have a living function, so they get beaten up and get added to the count and so on and so forth. One of them, basically the world's are dreaming, so the character's already dead, which means I could add a lot more people, but again, we're waking the worlds up, and Frollo did die in the dream, and that's he died before it fell to darkness, therefore he died again. So yes, that is the end of this kill count. Quick recap, quick abridged thing. The visuals would make a lot more sense, maybe, probably should have more story elements in the next one, but like I said, there was a week break during the beginning of this month, so most likely the Riku kill count is either already finished, has started, I don't know yet, I can't really record the voice lines for it, but all the other things should be good. But maybe it all works out for the best. I don't know. But either way, see you in around New Year's for Kingdom Hearts, Dream Drop Distance, Riku, and Ending Side. As for now, this is Rixxalight signing out.